Welcome to Abracadabra TV. The magic is here.
Hi guys, I'm Blondish, coming to you live from sunny LA on this beautiful Saturday morning. I know you might be a little bit surprised to see me here, but I really am super passionate about introducing our next guest. I've learned a lot from him since quarantine started and from his whole camp. So I wanted to give you guys a little bit of backstory and show you how this all relates to Abracadabra Fest, like on our beautiful quest to figure out the secrets to human connection, and, using this kind of quarantine and time off to really own in on those concepts so that we can all come back as a stronger unit, as one, and evolve together. So, the little backstory is like at the beginning of quarantine or in the end of March, someone reached out to me, this girl Summer. She was like, hey, the Tony Robbins camp, they really, they see that the music industry is really affected by everything that's going on, and they want to give you an hour session and all to bring together the different the music industry professionals on how to think differently and how to really bring value to our to our community and our fans in that time. And that's exactly what they ask us questions, and Stu's going to break everything down for you. I said his name, I didn't mean to. I wanted to introduce this really special gentleman. He has so many tools. He's a peak performance strategist for Tony Robbins. He's he also founded Finding Direction, which I haven't actually watched yet or read. But he helps people that feel lost, uncertain, kind of stuck like we did at the beginning of quarantine. He helps them find like their dream life and dream work that actually they never knew it existed. And that to me is so powerful, because that's just him working on his own abracadabra. And without further ado, I want to introduce Stu Massengill. And can you tell how excited I am, Stu? Wow. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time to
Absolutely.
Yes.
So I know.
Cool. What's that in the background there? Bra.
Oh, we got a little abracadabra.
Nice.
Well, abracadabra hiding in the back. Absolutely. Got to bring the love today.
Nice, Stu. Thanks for doing your hair and wearing that pink shirt. Bring us a little life and take it away, okay? I'll be taking notes. See you guys on the other side.
Thank you so much, Blondish. All right, everybody. Welcome to the session today. It is truly a blessing, an honor, and a privilege to be here with you today. And before we dive any further into the session, I think one of the most absolute things we need to do right now is we need to give Blondish, we need to give Abracadabra, and we need to give everybody on the back end a massive, like I have goosebumps saying this because of the impact they've created. We need to give them a massive round of applause right now for putting all of this together. All right, give them a round of applause. If you're in your room, start shouting, hooting, and hollering a little bit. And on top of that, I think what's so important as well is that we give credit to every single one of you that's tuning in right now. Right? I know we are all over the world. We are global, and you could be doing so many different things. For some of you, you could be out partying somewhere in the weekend in a quarantine sense. You could be Netflix and chilling. You could be sleeping, depending where you are in the country. But you said, hey, let me come to this festival so that I can do more, so that I can be more, and so that I can ultimately give more to this world. And it gives me goosebumps to say that, because I think that says a tremendous amount about every single one of you. So what we're going to do right now is I want you to take your hand, reach it high up in the air. You're going to lean forward, bend your hand, and then just give yourself a little pat on the back, right? Because you're crushing it. And then give yourself a freaking round of applause for showing up today. Awesome. And then my mentor, he said, Stu, successful and happy and fulfilled people, they just clap. So we're just going to clap one more time. One more big round of applause. Awesome. And so again, it's my honor to be here. As Viv mentioned, as Blondish mentioned, my name is Stu Massengill. And as we dive into this session, I want to send a couple foundations for how we absolutely maximize, right? Because I'm sure some of you, you've been, maybe you just woke up and you're sleepy. Maybe some of you have tuned in for 12 hours straight, right, for the festival. Maybe some of you are 24 hours and maybe some of you are 36 hours deep. And you're like, I've been on energy drinks, Stu. I got my coffee. I got all this stuff. I am just committed to being part of this festival, right? You've been here so much, putting out so much. And on top of that, over the last 30 days, 60 days, 3 months, 6 months, you've been on so many virtual sessions, right? You've been on virtual calls. You've been on virtual sessions like this. And I want to share with you what innately starts to happen as we get on so many sessions like this. This is what could happen. This is what won't happen. And then we'll share what is going to happen and how we maximize. So by being on so many of these sessions, we innately as humans, we lean back, we listen passively, kind of just hang out. Information flies in one ear. It zooms out the other. And believe it or not, your retention is about 10%. I'll say it again, 10%. You took your most valuable asset in the world, your time, something you will never get back, and you got 10%, right? And now I can tell that from all of you being part of this festival, that if you got 10% in anything in your life, you'd go, Stu, it's a little pathetic. I got more in me. I can do more. I can be more. I can give more. And so what we're going to do to absolutely maximize on this call is a couple things. Number one, you are already an expert at this. You are unbelievable at this. All of you listening, all of you tuning in today, is the first thing we're going to do is we're going to engage our physiology. We're going to engage our body, right? So for everyone, I want you to take your shoulders and shift them back, right? Take your feet, plant them firmly on the ground, and then take your chest and push your chest out. And now what you'll begin to notice as your physiology changes, your focus changes, right? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to engage our physiology on this call. The second thing that we're going to do is we are going to take notes. Now, I'm saying it, we're kicking it old school today. Not notes on your phone, not notes on your computer. I want you to get a freaking pen and a paper, old school. And I want you to write notes during this session, because what happens when you write notes, it sends neurological signals to your brain, and you are actually creating new neurological pathways in your brain. You are literally rewiring your brain. So that's the second thing we're going to do. The third thing we're going to do, and this is maybe where you say, Stu, this gets a little weird and wild and crazy, but we're going to do different things on this call so that we get different results in our life. So the third thing we're going to do to maximize is we're going to shout out answers, right? Throughout this session, I may ask that you shout out answers. It's going to help us build that retention. And then the fourth thing, and possibly the most engaging part that we can create today with this connection that we're already starting to build here, is we're going to engage with something I call phalanges, or our fingers, right? So for all of those of you engaging in the chat box, I got the chat pulled up right here. I see Laureen say notepad and pen ready. She loves taking notes. Ken Irrelevant is saying he loves notes. He's got some notes. So the last thing we're going to do, we're going to engage in the chat box, because when we engage in the chat box, again, that builds retention. So I'll break it down. We're going to use our physiology. We're going to take notes. We're going to shout things back, and we are going to engage in the chat box. When we do all of that together, believe it or not, your retention goes all the way up to 90%. That's when we can maximize some of these results on this call. And that's when we can truly get you to create the life of your dreams, right? Through absolutely maximizing. And so what we're going to do, we're going to start building this muscle. I want you to either drop in the chat box a 10 or a ham, like the word ham, or if there's an emoji for ham, I don't know if there's an emoji, but throw either a 10 if you're like, Stu, I'm cool to just get a little bit out of this session, right? I'm cool to just kind of stay where I'm at in my life, or a ham, or you could put 90. If you're like, I am ready to absolutely maximize on this call. Okay, I see Tiff NZ saying 10, right? She's absolute ready to maximize on this call, right? So we're going to engage. Hambone says tone depth, right? So we are going to maximize. We're going to do what I call go ham in the chat box. Go ham in the chat box. Like, imagine your life depends on how crazy you go in the chat box. Like, you are at the wildest festival you could ever be at, which you are, right? And you engage in the chat box. The more you engage, the more you get, right? So I see Blondish is going 10,000. Gijuan is going 10. Okay. Absolutely love that. Mental Health is going ham. Okay. So we're going ham. So here we go. We're going to start beginning this. What I want to share with you is a set of tools, strategies that can truly allow you to create the life of your dream. And I'm going to pull something up here that you can see. And it's called becoming something I call a super connector. Becoming a super connector is the way that you create the life of your dreams, right? So if you're taking notes, just write down, today I become a super connector. Write that down. Throw it in the chat box. Today I become a super connector. Today I get in the process of creating the life that I want, right? You become a super connector. And a quote that I want you to write down, that if you adopt this quote, I can promise you from the deepest place in my heart, it'll change your life. And the quote that I want to share with you is that with effective communication and networking, you can open truly any door of opportunity. So I want you to think about that for a second. Now, some of us grew up and we were like, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to be this, I want to do that when I grow up. Maybe at some point someone said, you can't do that, it's not realistic, yada, yada. They said something and you maybe put that in the closet and said, oh, maybe I'll just not do that. Now, I want you to imagine if someone gave you literally a key and you could take that key and you could go open any door you wanted, right? If you wanted to do this thing, you could use this key, this set of tools, strategies, skills to open that door, any door of opportunity. Like, imagine how much your life would begin to change if you could open any door that you wanted to open in the world, any opportunity. So that's what we're going to start to dive into, right? Through effective communication and networking, you can truly open any door of opportunity. Now, I'm sure some of you are going, Stu, that's haji-paji. I don't know if we could actually do that. So what's funny, and Viv Blondish alluded to a little bit, but the way that we actually got here, the way I got here, speaking with you today, is through super connecting. The only reason we are speaking today is because I super connected, right? So I want to share this with you. I want to show you a couple examples of how I've applied super connecting in my life to open doors of opportunity. And then we'll share with you how you can do the same in your life so you start to understand this, right? So let's look at this. So initially, I had reached out to this woman, Summer, over Instagram, right? We all have Instagram, right? Raise your hand if you have Instagram. Absolutely, you have Instagram, right? Everybody's freaking got it in the world. Now, what I did is I reached out to several people, and eventually, and Blondish talked about it earlier, I connected with someone named Summer, right? Now, Summer and we started connecting on Instagram, and I said a key factor, a key set of words. I said, Summer, how can I add value to your life? How can I add value to your life? How can I do something? How can I be of value? How can I give? How can I contribute? Because this was at the beginning of the coronavirus when everything was going crazy. And we started to talk about the music industry, things that were going in here. So Summer connected us with a bunch of people. The X here is because I literally don't know who this person is. But this person, I believe, was the person that connected Summer and Blondish and myself, right? So they connected Blondish and myself. Then after we did that initial session, Blondish just talked about, Blondish and I connected. And I said again, Blondish, how can I add value to your life? How can I be of service, right? How can I give to you? How can I just add value with all the craziness going on in the world? And crazy enough, probably over the last 4 months, Blondish and I have been in and out of conversations of just how can we add value? How can we do something? How can we create impact? And now that brings us today to Abracadabra, right? Literally through super connecting. That's 5 people right there, right? They say 6 laws of separation. Through 6 people, you can meet anyone you want. Also, through 6 people, you can open any door of opportunity in your life, right? So this is one example. Now, for some of you that are watching, you're like, well, I don't want to speak at a festival. I'm not an artist. I don't want to go do something like this. I want to share this principle with you on how you can apply this to your everyday life, right? To the things you do every single day in your life. What I did before I started working with Tony Robbins is I worked for a company called Vans, right? Some of you may know Vans, right? Largest action sports company in the world. And I'll run through this quick, but several years ago, I had a belief that my biggest passion in life was action sports. I was the kid that grew up skating. I was the kid that grew up snowboarding. And my belief was that if I could just work in action sports, I've made it. Like, my life's good. I'm good. I'm solid. I'm living my dream. And so what I did is I said, I want to get in action sports. How do I super connect to get there quicker? And I'll walk you through a process really quick, and then we'll get into you, right? So the first thing I did is I said, who do I know that may know someone in the action sports industry? And I want you to get your wheels turning here of how I did this so you can start looking at how you can do it in your life. I said, who do I know? Now, I had a professor in college. His name was Bern. He eventually said, Stu, I actually do know someone. He introduced me to a guy named Tim Garrett, and Tim Garrett was the president of a company called Laird. Now, I do not surf. Well, I've just started to learn to surf, but when I was introduced to Tim, I don't surf. I'm not a water person. That was not my jam, right? And Laird is a surf company. Laird Hamilton, one of the greatest surfers, big wave surfers to ever live. Now, one thing that's interesting is I could have got introduced to Tim, and I could have been like, oh, well, I don't want to do anything around surfing, so I'm just going to pass up on this, right? But one of the most important things I want to share with you, and I'd encourage you to write it down, is that you don't know what you don't know, and that's why you don't have. I'll say it again. You don't know what you don't know, and that's why you don't have, right? So when I met Tim, I didn't judge him. I didn't prejudge. I said, I don't know what I don't know. That's why I'm not where I want to be. So let me just make this connection. I went to Tim. I said, how do I add value? Can I volunteer? Can I do something for free? Can I just give to you in some way? So I started working with Tim for free. Eventually, I asked him another important question. You could write it down. I said, Tim, who do you know? Right? Who do you know in the industry? And lo and behold, guess who Tim knew? He knew the president of Vans, right? The largest action sports company on the face of the planet. Right now, I met Doug. I connected with him. He connected me to their HR person. Long story short, I decided to travel for a year and a half. Right? I traveled for a year and a half. Didn't end up pursuing that. But a year and a half later, because I kept this connection with Nicole, I came back to her and I said, hey, I'm looking to get back in the industry. Is there any way I can add value? Can I help? Can I do anything for you? Can I be of service? And she introduced me to someone in their HR company. And that person introduced me to this guy, CJ Scott. Ultimately, now I was working at Vans. Right? So I'm just showing you this to get a 10,000 foot view to look at how you can use these skills of super connecting to truly open any door of opportunity. This is a couple ways that I've used it. Now we are going to dive in how you can use it, how you can apply this to create your dream life. So the first thing we're going to look at is we are going to build rocket fuel, right? Because in order to go where we want, in order to get our rocket ship to where we want it to be, we need to have fuel in that rocket ship. So the first thing we're going to do, and this is where we're going to start to get into some exercises, some activities. The first thing I want you to understand is you need to figure out what is your why, right? What's your why? There's a saying they say, the bigger the why, the easier the how, right? The bigger the why, the easier the how. And so what we're going to do, get that pen and paper. Remember, we're going old school. And I just want you to write down, what are 3 reasons why you must create your dream life? I'm going to give you about 15 seconds, and I want you to write down in your notes, what are 3 reasons why you absolutely must create your dream life? We're going to take 15 seconds. Go ahead and write it down. All right, we'll take a couple more seconds. And as you finish up, I'm going to give you a second exercise to dive into. And the second exercise is I want you to write down, what are 3 goals for your life? What are 3 goals? And I don't want you to set limitations on yourself. We talked about this a little bit earlier in the call, but sometimes we go throughout life. We have experiences. Someone says, you can't do that. It's not possible. It's just not you. And we start to shut down. We start to dream a little smaller. What I want you to do right now is I want you to take those limitations and throw them in the trash can. Literally grab them from your head and just like throw them out your window, right? No more limitations right here, right? Let the inner child in you, let the 5-year-old you come out and write down, what are 3 goals that you have for your life? And what we're going to do, I see some of you already throwing it in the chat box. I want all of you to throw in the chat box, what's either a reason why you must create your dream life, or what is a goal that you have for your life? And I want you to go throw in the chat box, right? Throw in the chat box so we can start to see what are the dreams, what are the goals, what are the aspirations that people have on this call. And then we go through the process of how do we get the tools, the skills, the strategies to making that a reality. All right. Okay. So I see some of us saying financial freedom, happiness for all humans. We want to evolve together. We want to evolve together. To become a good cook. I love that. Okay, awesome. So write your 3 reasons down on why you must do this, and then write down 3 goals for your life. Now, what we're going to begin the process of is, what are the tools, what are the strategies to creating the truest connection, the deepest connection you could create as a human, Now, I know all of you that are tuning in, if you've ever been to a festival, you know the true essence of human connection, right? You create some of the most incredible connections you create at this event, and we'll go into why, right? But what we're going to start to talk about, what we're going to start to break down is how do we, on a fundamental level, create connection with humans? How do we do it? How do we create connection? How do we go so deep that we create this connection, right? I see some of us are saying peace, equality for our goals, leave the world better than when I was here, peace, bridging divisions. Love that. Make mom's life easy. I love that. Awesome. To help people who are disadvantaged and make the world a better place to live. Absolutely love that. My heart lights up for that. Awesome. So now we have some of the rocket fuel. Now we're going to get into the strategies. How the heck do we create this connection? And then how do we build our dream life? So the first thing that I want to share with you is 4 letters that will absolutely change the quality of your life. And a little bit of backstory that I'll share about myself before we get into this 4 letters that could change your life is if you met me, let's say 8 years ago, you would not believe where I was. And I don't mean that I was in some horrible situation, bad family, all that, but I grew up as the shy kid. I grew up as the introvert. I grew up, and throughout my entire upbringing, I felt like I was in a shell. And that either makes sense to you if you can relate. And if it doesn't, it just meant I was more introverted, right? I was more shy. I didn't know how to create communication with people, let alone connection. And when I learned these 4 letters, this word, it massively, massively, massively changed the quality of my life. I used to literally watch people that had conversations, and I was mind blown. I would just go, I don't even know what they talk about. Like, what do people talk about? Like, how do you have a conversation with someone for half an hour? Like, it just blew my mind. I had absolutely no idea how you talk to people. And so what I want to share with you are these 4 letters, and then we're going to go deep. We're going to go deep into connection. Now, the 4 letters, I encourage you to write them down. The F stands for family or from. Family or from. The O stands for occupation. The R stands for recreation. And the M stands for motivation. Right? So what this is it's a foundational building block for communication. Like I said, I had no idea what people would communicate about. I just didn't get it. And then I learned this, right? It's a building block for communication. You talk to someone, you go, oh, hey, where are you from? Boom, 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 boom. You talk about it. Oh, what do you do for work? Right? What do you do for fun? What are your dreams, goals, aspirations? Right? That's the way you start to build communication. Now, what we want to get to on this session is we want to get to, well, okay, we can communicate, but how do we really connect with someone? And the 5th part of this I want to share with you is absolutely the most important part of all of this. And the 5th part is to create and find a common ground of interest. Right? Now, something, if you want to jot it down, and some of you may already know this, is what do we think is a person's favorite subject in the world? You can go ahead and throw it in the chat box. What's someone's favorite subject in the world? Okay. Yeah. I'm assuming some of you are going themselves. People's favorite subject in the world is themselves, and their favorite word, the sweetest sound to their ears in the entire world, is their name. Right? So what you want to begin to understand is that as we as humans go throughout life, we've all been through some stuff that's acted and hurt us a little bit. And what it's done is it's innately made us put up walls. Right? So I want you to imagine, as humans are going throughout the world every single day, what they're actually doing from an energetic standpoint is they have these walls up and they're walking around and they have a conversation with someone and they're judging. They're going, is this person like me? And do I feel safe? Right? Because if people's favorite subject is themselves, then people also like people like themselves. Right? People like themselves. When they meet someone that's like themselves, they find trust. Right? They bring these walls down. Let's look at an example. Let's say, for example, you are in another country, right? Or let's actually say you're at a festival, right? And you're going around, you're meeting people, you're communicating, you're talking to people, and all of a sudden you're talking to someone in the crowd, and you're from Little Johnstown, we'll just say that's where you grew up. And you're going throughout this festival, you meet someone, and you're talking, and eventually they're like, oh yeah, I'm from this little small town called Johnstown. And you're like, oh, I'm from Johnstown. You're like, oh my God, this is unbelievable, right? And all of a sudden your walls come down. You feel like you've known them forever. You feel like they are your best friend. You can tell them your deepest, darkest secrets in the world. And why is it? It's because you found this common ground of interest. And now in their brain, they've gone, oh, this person's like me, so I can trust them, so I'll bring my walls down. And that is when you begin this process of true human connection, right? It's that you have to find that common ground of interest. So you can use form to do that, right? You could go through and go, oh, hey, where are you from? Oh, you're from Ohio. Okay, maybe I'm not from Ohio. So I'm like, okay, never mind. What do you do for work? You do that? Oh, I can't relate. Recreation. Oh, you like girls? I like girls. You're like, oh my God, right? And you relate. You find that common ground of interest to bring those walls down, right? Now, for some of us that say, okay, this is great. I could talk to someone. I could ask where they're from. What do you do for work? What do you do for fun? What's your dreams, goals, aspirations? And then what the hell are we going to talk about, right? What you want to understand is you can go deeper, right? So you just dig into the form, right? So you go, oh, where are you from? Right? Oh, I'm from, they go, oh, I'm from Tennessee. And you're like, oh, cool. Well, like, you always live in Tennessee because you're in California now. And they'd be like, oh, no, I moved here 5 years ago. Oh, well, do you want to go back to Tennessee? Right? You start digging into that. Oh, what do you do for work? Do you like it? Do you not like it? What's your favorite part? Did you used to do it? Right? You just keep digging into these. And the more times you can find common ground of interest, the deeper that bond will be. Right? Think about it. Why is your best friend your best friend? Your best friend's your best friend because we're basically like identical. Right? We may look different, but we grew up the same way. We have the same interests. We like the same things, right? You've created so many common grounds of interest with the people you're closest with that you have some of the deepest bonds that you've ever created in your life, right? But it's because you find that common ground of interest, right? I see mental health is going common threads, right? Absolutely. So what we want to look at next is you could be the best communicator. You could connect through this way, but it goes deeper than this. And it actually goes much, much deeper than this, right? Now, when we look at communication, when we look at connection, the purest essence is that connection is more than words, right? When we're trying to connect with someone, we're trying to build one of the deepest connections. The words that come out of your mouth are in fact only 7% of communication. 7, a whopping 7%. Basically, none of the communication you're having with someone are the words, right? Let's say maybe some of you have been in a festival, a club, something like that, and you go up to a cute girl, cute guy, and you start talking to them, and you may have said the same words that you said a different time when you had success, and this time you failed. And the reason is because maybe the second time when you failed, that you only were using 7%. You weren't using this other 93%. Right? So some of you that have created connections with people just through your words, imagine if you built this connection with another 93% of what actually creates connection. Right? And so what I want to share with you next is the second part of creating the true deepest connections that you could create in your life. It is tonality, the way that we use our voice and the way that we pick up our voice, right? Our tonality, the influx of our voice is 38% of connection. Right, of how we communicate with someone. And the third part, and undoubtedly the most important part, and my favorite part about talking with you today, is you're all experts at this already. You have mastered this part more than you know. You've mastered 55% of communication and connection, and you may not have even been aware of it, right? And what that 55% is its body language, right? Now, what we're going to teach you today is how do you take the connection you create with someone at a festival, right? Someone that you're doing the same dance with, you're building that connection with them. How do we take that connection you created at a music festival and how do we pull it into your everyday life, right? 55% of communication, of connection is your body language. And so what we want to understand is just how we can build a common ground of interest with our words using something like form. What you can also do, and it's a much deeper way to build connection with someone, is you build it through something called mirroring. And all mirroring is it's doing the same thing that someone else does with these other styles, right? So watch this for a second. Now, let's say you want to match someone and mirror someone in tonality. You want to create that deeper connection. Now, if someone comes up to you and they talk to you like this, and let's say this person's named Tina and she's walking around and all of a sudden she meets Bob and Bob's like this, and Bob communicates like this, and Bob's like, oh my God, Tina, it's so good to see you. All of a sudden, Tina's going, holy shiza, there's something massively wrong with this guy. Like, what is going on with him? He's got a loose screw in his brain. And what she's inherently thinking unconsciously in her brain is Bob is nothing like me, so I don't trust him. I don't want to connect with him. I honestly don't want to be around him because there's something loose in his head. There's a loose screw, right? But now let's say, for example, there's Bob, and Bob's like this, and Bob's walking around, and Bob meets Jim, and Jim's talking, and Jim's like, oh my God, like Bob. And Jim in his head is thinking, holy grasshopper, there's something about this guy, Bob, that I like. Like I can't put my finger on it, but there's something about Bob. He must be a really good guy. And what he's actually thinking unconsciously in his brain is he's thinking, Bob's like me. So I feel safe. I will bring these walls down. And that's how I will truly create a connection with this person. Right? So that's one way we match mirror with our tonality. Now, the next thing we could do, and this is the deepest way we do it. And again, you are all masters at this already. We'll get to that in a second. But the deepest way you can create connection with someone is through mirroring their body language. So when you're talking to someone, if they're standing like that with their arms on their side, you do that. If they go like that, you do that. If they go and itch behind their ear, you itch behind your ear. And what you'll notice is as you start to mirror them, what's going to happen innately and unconsciously in their brain is they go again, ooh, that person's like me. I like them. I want to be around them more. I want to connect with them. I build a deeper relationship. And so as I mentioned many times on this session, is that you are an absolutely unfreaking believable connector already, right? You do it at festivals. You do it in your everyday life, I'm sure. But what we want to do is how can we take that and apply it to your life every single day? So you have that deep, deep, deep connection in your life every single day. And so what we're going to do, and I'm just going to do something and you just let what happens. And we're going to watch automatically how you are already an unbelievable expert in this area of your life. And so let's just see what happens here. Okay, I don't know if you guys, did anybody else hear that? Can you guys hear that? Oh yeah. Okay, so what I want you to do right now is if you're in a room, I want you to stand up. I want you to stand up, get on your feet, start moving your body. And I want you, if you're with someone in a room, pick an A and a B. Who's A, who's B? Quickly pick it. Who's A, who's B? Who's A, who's B? Okay, what we're going to do is person B, you're the leader. Person B, I want you to bust out your wildest dance moves. And person A, you got to copy them. You got to match. You got to mirror them. And now if you're in your house by yourself, you're going to mirror me. Right? If you're in your house by yourself, you don't have a partner, mirror me. If you have someone else, do a B and an A. Everybody copy person B. All right, ready? Here we go.
What's the B? Whose house tonight? I can be by your B, but it's mine tonight. What's the move? What's the vibe tonight? Cause I'm kinda look cute, get wild tonight. What's the B? Whose house tonight? I can be by your B, but it's kinda look cute, get hey. 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 Cute, get hey. 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 What's the move? What's the vibe tonight? Give them. We just give them. Oh yeah, give them.
Absolutely phenomenal. You are all amazing. I love you. Give yourself a massive round of applause.
What's the move? What's the vibe tonight? Cause I'm trying to look cute.
You want to keep going?
Tonight.
You want to keep going? Is that what you're saying?
I can be
all right, person A, bust out your craziest dance moves. And then person B, you got to copy person A. If you're with yourself in the house, just freestyle here. All right, ready?
What's the move? What's the vibe tonight? Cause I'm trying to look cute, get wild tonight. What's the B? Whose house tonight? I can be by your B, but it's mine tonight. What's the move? What's the vibe tonight? Cause I'm trying to look cute, get wild tonight. What's the B? Whose house tonight? I can be by your B, but it's mine tonight. 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 BYOB, but it's kinda look cute, yeah. vibe tonight.
All right, Jay Frogman, I see your Busta moves over there. Body language says volleyball. Heck yeah, I don't know what that means, but let's get it. Someone's puddling. Someone is dance. Okay, we got a dance little squirrel guy. There we go. Bust it out. Keep going. All right, give yourself a freaking massive round of applause. You absolutely crushed that. Take a seat. Give yourself a round of applause. I love you. You're beautiful. You're phenomenal. You are absolutely unbelievable. I love you all. One more time. Give yourself a massive round of applause. You are unfreaking believable. I could feel your energy, your love, your heart through this screen. You're unbelievable. And what I want you to notice there is how you start to match and mirror people, how you start to create some of the deepest connection that you can create in your life. And when you can build a connection, a true deepest essence of connection, you use that skill to then create a pathway, to create a GPS to open any door that you want to open in your entire life. It's through these skills that you've already mastered. We just did it with our mini dance session, right? So what we're going to look at now, you've mastered these skills of connecting. You are a super connector. What I want everybody to do actually is an count of 3, no matter where you are, I just want you at your house to scream out, I am a super connector, right? On the count of 3, we're going to do it. Now, you may have a spouse around you, a friend. You may have someone that looks weird at you. You go, hey, chill the F out. I'm opening my dream life. I'm getting to my dream life. Chill the F out, right? That's what you tell them if they look at you weird. So on the count of 3, all you're going to do is you're just going to shout out, I am a super connector. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Shout it out. Yeah. You are amazing. Okay, so what we're going to look at now. Yeah, your wife's about to be shook. Absolutely piff dip. You just tell her, hey, I'm unlocking my dream life. Just relax for a second, okay? So what we need to look at now, this is something we've all heard, right? Follow your passion. Follow your dream. Do what lights you up. Do what you feel you were here to brought to do on this world. We've all had that said to us at some point. But then it comes to the reality of how. We're like, how do I actually make my passion my reality in my life? How can I wake up every single day and do this? Right? We face that question of how do I actually make this something in my life that someone freaking pays me for? It doesn't even feel like work, right? And some of you may be on this tuning in and you may go, Stu, honestly, I don't even know my passion. Like, I don't know what lights me up. I don't know what gets me going. I don't know what I would want to do that just fuels me every single day. And so what I'm going to share with you is how we unlock that. For those that already know your passion, how we build the map to get you there. And if you just feel stuck, lost, uncertain, I'm going to break some strategies down to you on how we unlock what those are for you. And what we're going to do to talk about it is we are going to talk about jelly. We're talking about jelly. No, you freaks, not that type of jelly. Like jelly, jam, like grape jam, strawberry jam. Okay, awesome. So what I want to share with you is a concept that a woman named Dr. Meg J discovered. She was a mentor of mine, and a little background on her. She was a counselor at a college, and she had all these people that would come in and they would go, oh, I just feel so stuck, so lost. I don't know what I want to do. I feel like I'm in an ocean and I just don't know where to go. I just don't know what I want to do with my life. Right. And then she talked to some people that say, yeah, after college, I got a job, but it honestly doesn't light me up. And I don't know how to find what is that thing that actually I feel I'm called here to do. And a simple concept I want to share with you that she discovered throughout this study, because she became obsessed with this question. Eventually she got to the point and she goes, so many people are asking me this. I must become obsessed with this and I must find the answer. And what she found out and what she came away from is what we call jars of jelly. And what I mean by that is if you look at your life right now, and maybe you're in this place where COVID came and you got laid off, right? One of the things that's crazy, and Blondish and I had spoke about this on our previous call that we did together, is some people in COVID, before COVID, actually, let's go there. They were like, I hate my job. I'm not happy. And what do they say? Be careful what you wish for, right? Some of us got laid off. Some of us are no longer in the job we want to be in. And we're in this place of, man, this is awful. I lost my job. I don't have an income. No one's hiring, right? Maybe we look at it as, what an incredible opportunity that I finally get an opportunity to do work that lights me up, to do something that I love every single day. What if we looked at it that way, right? Now, some of you may not even have a job. Maybe you're in a phase where you're looking for that job, right? Maybe some of you are at a job and you're not happy and you want to transition. So these are some of the things she discovered. I'll break it down. She found out that in life, it is not that we don't know what lights us up. It's not that we don't know what we're passionate about. It's not that we don't know what truly gets our blood going, right? She said, if we look back on our life, there's probably 3, maybe 4, maybe 5, maybe more things that we have always attracted to in our life, right? Things we've always been pulled towards. If you're here, obviously one of them is music for you, right? Maybe one's music. Maybe one is traveling, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to start to discover, what are your jars of jelly? So right now, get that pen and paper out, keeping it old school. Like I said, we're not messing around here, right? Keep it old school. And I want you to write down on your notes somewhere, anywhere, doesn't matter where, what are 3 things you've continuously been attracted to in your life? And write those down in your notes right now. Go ahead and go. Give you 10, 15 seconds. And again, I don't want you to limit yourself here. Some of you may go, oh, well, I'm passionate about music, but I don't know how to make that my living. Or some of you may go, oh, well, I love helping people. Or maybe you go, I love traveling, but how the heck am I going to get, how's that going to be my living, right? How am I going to get paid every single day to travel? Don't go there. Just write down, what are 3 interests that you have? And then what I want you to do is I want you to put in the chat box, use those phalanges. I want you to type in the chat box, what are 1, 2, or 3 of your interests, things that you've constantly been gravitated towards. And what's crazy that you'll start to notice is you may even begin your super connecting process here to start opening that door, right? So write down those, right? Write down what are 3 interests that you have. Throw them in there. I see we got music, action sports, games. How granular can you get? As granular as you want. Art, support, travel. Someone's passionate about tacos. Somebody else would travel. Okay, awesome. So this is what Meg J discovered. I want you to get this. This is important. Art, dance, meditation. I love you. Computer science, teaching, electronics, says Ted Twin Todd. Motion graphics, drone and DJ game show. Photography, art, nature, skating, humanitarian work, interior design, equality, music, travel, laughter. I love you guys. You guys are amazing. Okay, so this is what Meg J found out. Now, those interests, I want you to picture them as jars of jelly, right? I'll break it down for the way it was in my life. For mine, 3 of my things were action sports. I loved action sports. I grew up doing it. I still do it today, right? Next was traveling. I love traveling. I love seeing the world. And the third was public speaking, right? I had at a point in my life where I used to hate public speaking. It used to be my biggest fear. And then I found out the true impact that it could create. And so it became a jar of jelly for me. So most people, what they do, right? I want you to picture you have your 3 jars. My 3 jars were action sports, travel, and speaking. What most people do is, let's say, for example, that this is my action sports jar of jelly. What most people do is they look at the jar of jelly and they go, oh, damn, that jar looks good. Like the stuff inside, look at the orange, look at the color. Oh my God, other people are saying that this tastes really good. So I would probably love action sports. Let me try. Well, if I try it, then I got to drink the whole thing. And that's too much. So, I won't do that. Okay, well, let me pick up speaking, right? This is my speaking jar of jelly. And let me try that. And you could, but it looks bland. It looks boring. No one's saying it's fun. No. And what they end up doing is you just stare at all of these jars of jelly and you never actually get to try them. Now, I want you to understand is that until you try it, you will never know, right? Remember, you don't know what you don't know. That's why you don't have. Let's break it down to the simplistic. Look at this example. I want you to think about pizza right now. Not jam on pizza. We're not going there. I do not do that. If you do that and it's good, throw it in the chat box. Maybe we'll try it. Say, don't knock until you try it. But most people like pizza. If you don't like pizza, let's take ice cream. I want you to take your favorite food. I'll use pizza as an example. And I want you to ask yourself, how did you find out that you absolutely loved pizza or that you liked pizza? Did you look at the pizza and you go, smells good? It looks really good. Other people say the pizza is delicious. You know what? I like pizza. And is that how you found out you like pizza? Or did you try a slice and you were like, oh my God, I'm going to eat pizza the rest of my life? That's how you found out you loved it, is because you tried it. So what most people do in life is they go by looking at these jars of jelly, these interests that they have. For you, it's 3 that we wrote down today. Maybe you have 5, maybe you have more. But most people go throughout life and they look at these jars of jelly and they don't actually try them. One of the things you will begin to understand is you start trying these jars of jelly. And we use super connecting to expedite that process. Is what you want to understand is that as soon as you try, like let's say I take action sports and I'm like, oh, inside looks amazing. It's sick. The packaging is cool. Other people say they like it. Okay, screw it. I'm just going to try it. I'm going to try action sports. I'm going to try it. I'm going to see if I like it. And here goes nothing. I'm getting crazy, right? Okay, so I open it up and oh, nasty. That is not fit for my taste buds. Action sports looks cool. People say it's cool, but for my taste buds, that was pretty disgusting. I'm cool, right? I'll just put it back on the shelf and now I'll try the action or the speaking one, right? I try the speaking one. I go, ooh, tastes kind of good. Let me try that again. Wow, like that fits my taste buds. This is my jam, right? I know these are water bottles, pretend they're jam. Like, this is my jam. This is what I'm going to do. And then you start to figure out what you actually want to do, what lights you up in life, right? Every single time you try something and you don't like it, what happens? Don't underestimate the power of your brain. As soon as you try something you don't like, your brain will innately go, don't do that, go do this. You don't like this. This is what you're supposed to be doing, right? If you build awareness around it, if you listen to yourself, as soon as you try something you don't like it, you'll get more clarity on what you do like. Okay, so now we have our 3 jars of jelly. What we're going to do next is begin this process of super connecting, right? I showed you a couple examples of how I did it in my life earlier. Now we're going to look at how can you do this in your own life. And so what we're going to do is I want you to write down who are 2 to 3 people that you know that have something to do with this space. Who are 2 to 3 people you know in this industry, in this interest of yours, that you know that have something to do with that? And we're going to take 10, 15 seconds, and I want you to write it down on your notes. Write down for each of those 3 interests, who are 2 to 3 people you know in each of those interests. And go ahead and go. We'll take 10 seconds. We'll take 15 seconds. Right? Maybe who is someone you know that's in that industry. Right? If I scroll back up here, someone said one of their jars was music and food. Right? So who is someone you know that's maybe doing a career or profession with music? Who's someone you know that does something around food? Right? Now, if you don't know someone, do you know someone that knows someone? Right? And I want you to make that list. Who are 2 to 3 people you know in each of these? Right? Understand they may not be the person that gives you the keys, right? That fully unlocks it, but they know someone who knows someone who knows someone that through super connecting, through creating the deepest, purest connections that you can create, they will help you get the keys to the life that you truly desire. Right? So write down, we'll take 5 more seconds, write down who are those 2 to 3 people that you know in that space, around that space, have something to do with that space. You can have as much time as you need in the next 3 seconds. Okay, awesome. Now the last part And undoubtedly the most important part of all of this, absolutely the most important of all of this, is as you go throughout this process of super connecting. And again, go back to my examples. You can see how I implemented this in my life, is you absolutely must. Actually, let's do two things. You must understand two things. Number one, I want you to write down on your paper, loose ties versus strong ties. Loose ties versus strong ties. Now, one of the things Meg J discovered in her research is that oftentimes the people that change our life, the people that end up opening these doors of opportunity, they're people that we don't actually know that well. Right now, strong ties, what those are, these are people you have incredible relationships with. It could be a sibling, it could be a best friend, it could be an aunt and uncle, right? A parent, someone you are so close with. Your best friend, you could go in their house, open the fridge, take out the orange juice, take a swig from the carton. They walk in, see you, they're like, oh, that's just my best friend. That's a strong tie. Now, a loose tie is someone that maybe you don't know that well. Maybe they're an acquaintance. Maybe there's someone that you met once or twice. Maybe you have a little bit of a relationship with, but you don't know them extremely well. What Meg J found out is that it's often through the loose ties that you end up opening these doors of opportunity, right? So we go back to don't judge, right? You don't know what you don't know. That's why you don't have. So you want to understand loose ties, strong ties. They're both incredible ways to build these connections, to super connect, to get the life that you want. Now, the last thing, absolutely the most important part of all of this, is you must add value. You must add value, right? If you go throughout this process, right, and it requires some work, right? We look at the word networking, it's networking, not working, right? It's networking, like go do the work, put in the effort, right? But what you want to understand is you want to add value, because as you meet some people, if you just go to them and say, hey, can you help me out? I'm trying to get in this space. Like, can you do anything for me? I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with my life. Like, can you help me? There's probably a lot of people that are doing that, right? You need to stand out. So find a way, spend some time, get creative, find a way that you can add value to this person you want to connect with, and then go to them and say, hey, how can I add value? How can I pour into your life? How can I give? How can I be of service? Right? Let's say for some of you, it's this music industry. Maybe you go to someone, you connect eventually with someone at a festival, and you say, hey, can I just volunteer on the weekend? Right? Can I just come? Or maybe for the virtual festival, right? You go to another artist that's struggling. You go, oh my God, look at what I found out. Look at what someone else is doing. Let me help you. Let me add value. I found a way we can bounce back, right? You find ways to add value to them that'll increase the depth of your connection with them. And then you continue to open those doors of opportunity, right? So these, again, yes, simplistic things. But if you apply the tools from this session today, I can truly promise you from the deepest place in my heart that you can have the life that you desire, right? Maybe take this call as a moment to say, hey, I'm not putting a cap on it anymore, right? For most people, maybe 2020 started, right? January 1st came around. You were like, oh, 2020, this is my year. You're like, I'm going to crush it. I'm going to dominate. I'm going to impact more people. I'm going to just dominate this year, right? 2020 sounds so good. You're like, yeah, screw that. This is my freaking decade, right? You're like, I'm going to do unbelievable this year. This is the year. No more 20 teens, 2020. It's here. It's time. And then for some people, this Corona thing came, smacked us upside the head, and we forgot the most fundamental part of life is that we need to know, where are we going, right? We need to ask, we need to check in and say, hey, are we actually doing what we want? So maybe we take this moment right here, right now, to check in and go, hey, am I doing what feels right in my heart? Am I doing what I feel called to do? Or am I just at this job that I got that I don't like, and I'm just kind of doing it because that's what someone told me, and I just kind of think that's the way it should be? Maybe we take this as a moment to say, to put a flag in the ground and say, no more, no longer, I'm not putting up with this anymore. I am creating the life of my dreams. And so what we're going to do one more time is, on the count of 3, I want you to shout out, I am a super connector. And then we're going to wrap this up the only way that I know that we should wrap up a session like this at Abracadabra Fest. Right? Now, on the count of 3, we'll shout it out, and then we're going to end this the truest way that we end this type of a session at Abracadabra Fest. My mentor, he said, Stu, we never go out low energy. We have to go out in what we call a freaking peak state. All right. So on the count of 3, I want you to shout out. I'll do 1, 2, 3. I'm a super connector. 1, 2, 3, and I'm creating my dream life. All right, 1, 2. Don't do it yet. I'm gonna show you. Right, you do 1, 2, 3. I'm a super connector. 1, 2, 3, and I'm creating my dream life. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. I'm a super connector. 1, 2, 3, and I'm creating my dream life. Amazing. I love all of you. You are absolutely phenomenal. And here we go. We're wrapping this up the only way, like I said, that I know to end something like this. You are all beautiful. You are amazing. I appreciate you. I love you. My heart is here with you. And I hope you take some things from today to truly, truly create the life of your dreams. So we'll wrap it up. The only way that I know is we get a little Diplo going. We get the energy flowing. And we celebrate that we are on the path to create our dream life.
I'm
So stand
walking
up.
down that road.
Stand up right
where
now.
all the
Get the
flowers
energy
go.
flowing throughout your body.
They say
And
we're
then listen to the
supposed to
lyrics.
grow, learning from the highs and lows. All eyes lying on me, oh, begging me to play the role. 'Cause
I'm gonna get it right. You're gonna get it right.
I'm gonna get it right.
You are gonna get it
They
right.
can try to hold me down, but I'm gonna get it right. When the sky is filled with smoke and fire,
I'm gonna get it right.
all I want is something better in the purple light. They can try to hold me down, but
I'm gonna get it right.
all my dreams are running wild. I'm gonna chase them down. They said you're gonna lose your mind.
Welcome to Abracadabra TV.
Live exclusively on Twitch.